When night has settled over familiar sounds and the last light of the day slowly fades, perhaps you are here not because you are not sleepy yet, but because you have not truly felt safe enough to sleep. The body needs rest, but the mind still wanders among thoughts, unnamed questions, and a deeply human feeling small before a world that feels too vast. Stories for Sleep was created for precisely this moment. This is not a place to learn about the universe in a dry or overwhelming way, but a place to listen to the universe as a lullaby. On this channel, knowledge of stars, space-time, and the order of the cosmos is told in a slow, gentle, and deep rhythm. So you do not need to understand everything, only to feel. When you gaze at the universe long enough, something subtle happens. Personal worries begin to soften. Not because they disappear, but because you realize you are being held within a larger rhythm, more patient, more spacious, and unhurried. And it is precisely this feeling of being supported that opens the door to sleep. If you are looking for a place to end a long day in peace, stay here with Stories for Sleep. And if you wish for more nights gently lulled like this, you may subscribe as a very quiet promise to future evenings. Now, let us begin, very slowly. When night falls, many of us lie still in bed, while the mind continues to wander. The body is tired, but thoughts refuse to stop. Unnamed questions, vague anxieties, the feeling of being small before a vast world. All of this makes sleep fragile. Perhaps the problem is not that you are not tired enough, but that your mind has not yet found a space safe enough to let go. From the perspective of Carl Gustav Jung, human beings do not lose sleep only because of stress, but because consciousness becomes disconnected from deeper rhythms of life. When we focus only on what is close and personal, the mind contracts. But when our view widens beyond the self, beyond today, something very different happens. We begin to breathe more slowly. We remember that we are not alone, and the body at last allows itself to rest. This video is created as a gentle invitation, not to teach dry astronomical facts, and not to overwhelm you with the vastness of the universe, but to connect cosmic knowledge with a deeply human sense of peace, to remind you that you are living within a larger order, where every movement from distant stars to the beating of your own heart has its own rhythm, and none of it is in a hurry. On this journey, you will listen to stories of the universe told slowly and softly. You may find that vastness does not have to lead to fear, but can offer profound support. When we become small enough before the universe, we also become safe enough to stop holding ourselves so tightly. If you are listening to this before sleep, allow yourself not to understand everything. Just listen. Let those vast images soften the movements within you. And perhaps when the next part begins, you will notice that sleep is no longer something you must search for, but something quietly drawing closer. The body as a silent universe. When night falls and the outside world gradually recedes, you may be lying there with a body so familiar it hardly seems worth noticing. But if you listen more closely, if you allow yourself to pause long enough, you may discover something strange inside that body. Nothing is ever completely still. Even when you are resting, even when you are asleep, a silent universe continues to operate. We often think of the body as merely a container that carries the mind through life, familiar, somewhat ordinary, noticeable only when it hurts, grows tired, or breaks down. But when seen more deeply, the body is anything but simple. It is an astonishingly dynamic system, where trillions of cells coordinate, where countless reactions occur with precise timing without requiring any command from your conscious mind. Right now, your heart is beating. Your lungs are exchanging air. Blood is flowing. Cells are repairing. The brain is adjusting. All of this happens quietly, without reminders, without control. The body knows what to do, and it has known this long before you had language to name yourself. From Jung's perspective, human beings do not live by consciousness alone. Much of our life is guided by deeper layers where instinct, memory, and unconscious intelligence operate. The body is one of the clearest expressions of this depth. It does not argue. It does not reason. It does not panic like the mind. It simply works steadily and faithfully, day after day. There is something very gentle in this truth. You do not need to be alert in order to live. You do not need to understand everything in order to be supported. Even when you are tired, confused, or doubting yourself, the body keeps its rhythm. Like a star-filled night sky, vast, silent, and always there, whether you look up or not. When we begin to see the body as a miniature universe, something important happens, tension softens. Because if a universe is operating within you, perhaps you do not need to control everything with your small conscious mind. Perhaps you can trust a little more. Perhaps you can allow yourself to rest. Trillions of processes within you are never in a hurry. They follow their own rhythm, independent of your schedules, plans, or worries. This rhythm is slow, precise, and patient. When you lie down at night, it becomes more noticeable not because it has just begun, but because consciousness has finally grown quiet enough to listen. And here a very subtle shift occurs. When you realize that you are not the only one keeping everything running, an invisible burden is set down. You do not need to strain in order to exist. You do not need to think more in order to be safe. A silent intelligence is with you in every heartbeat, every breath, every cell. This opening is not meant to teach you anything new. It is simply an invitation to look at your body with a different gaze, not judgment, not control, but gentle respect and curiosity. Because when curiosity becomes kind, the mind slows. And when the mind slows, sleep becomes possible. If you are hearing these words before sleep, you do not need to remember them. You do not need to understand everything. Simply allow the image of a silent universe within you to be there, very light, very still. And in that stillness, let the body continue its work as it always has, so you may let yourself sink down safely and drift towards sleep. Perhaps what makes sleep difficult is not that the body is too complex, but that we have forgotten its quiet intelligence. We live mostly in the head, in thoughts, unfinished plans, unsettled memories. Meanwhile, the body lives very differently, without hurry, without hesitation, without self-doubt. It does not ask what tomorrow will be. It attends only to this moment, keeping life going one more beat. There is a gentle contrast between mind and body. The mind wants to move beyond the present. The body always stays. It stays with its weight, with the beating heart, with the breath coming and going. And when night arrives, when light fades, the body seems to whisper something ancient. Now is the time to return. In Jungian depth psychology, suffering often arises when we are cut off from our deeper layers. When we live too much at the surface of consciousness, we forget the wider, more patient, more reliable life beneath. The body is the doorway to that depth. No ritual is required, no complex understanding, only staying still long enough. Consider this: you never had to learn how to make your heart beat. You never had to memorize how to breathe. You never needed instructions for cells to repair themselves. The body did not wait for you to mature before it knew how to live. It lived long before you were conscious of yourself. And it will continue to live even as consciousness temporarily withdraws in sleep. When we see the body as a small universe, we begin to realize that we are not as fragile as we once believed. A universe does not survive through constant control. It survives through order, rhythm, and trust. Your body is the same. It does not need you to be tense to protect it. It only needs you not to disrupt its natural rhythm with excessive worry. Perhaps right now you can sense a very small change, not sleep yet, but a loosening, as if something inside you has just been set down. That is a sign this ancient system has received a signal of safety. And when the body feels safe, it begins to do what it does best at night. Prepare for sleep. This opening asks nothing of you. No concentration, no effort to relax, no breathing technique. Just allow this idea to remain inside me. A universe is operating very well. And if a universe can exist in silence, perhaps you can allow yourself to be silent with it. From here, we will move more deeply, very slowly, into the body's foundational rhythms. Not to analyze, but to recognize that you are being supported more than you realize. For now, this is enough. enough to be curious, enough to feel safe, enough to begin letting the night hold you. You do not need to sleep yet. Just stay and let the body, that silent universe, continue its work. Foundational rhythms, heart vessels, and circulation. When you begin to feel your body as a silent universe, when consciousness has softened enough to stop controlling everything, an ancient rhythm becomes clearer. No attention required, no focus needed. It has always been there, the heartbeat. The heart does not wait for orders to begin the day. It does not stop when you are tired, sad, or uncertain. Even before your first memory of yourself, your heart was already beating. And if life allows, it will continue until your final breath. In the quiet of night, the heart is like a biological conductor, guiding the symphony of life without needing a spotlight. Each heartbeat is a precise decision made in the unconscious, not too fast, not too slow. Enough to carry blood everywhere, enough to nourish each cell, enough to keep you present in this moment. There is something tender in knowing that you never had to learn how to make your heart beat, yet it remains faithfully with you, beat after beat. From the heart unfolds a vast network of blood vessels, stretching tens of thousands of kilometers, quietly reaching every corner of the body. Arteries expand and contract. Veins patiently return blood with one-way valves. Capillaries so thin that only one blood cell can pass at a time. The system is not rigid. It adapts continuously. When you stand, blood adjusts. When you lie down, it reroutes. When you feel, emotion vessels open or constrict. When you move, flow increases. No conscious control center commands these changes. The body knows. Like a living city where traffic flows smoothly, even when no one looks at the map. In moments of danger, when threat is sensed, a swift decision is made: prioritize blood for the brain and heart. Not because you deserve it, but because life requires it. The body does not moralize. It does not analyze. It protects what is essential. And even while you sleep, this vigilance quietly continues. Jung observed that life is guided not primarily by reason, but by deeper, older processes. He wrote, "In all chaos, there is a cosmos. In all disorder, a secret order. The circulatory system is a living example of this secret order. Not rigid perfection, but flexible harmony. Heart valves open and close at the right moment. Arteries respond elastically. Veins work against gravity through subtle structures. This rhythm has been practiced for millions of years of evolution and is etched into your body. At night, the heart slows. Blood pressure lowers. Flow becomes gentler. This is not weakness, it is safety. The body only slows when it no longer needs to be on guard. And this is essential for sleep. Sleep does not come by force, but when the body feels safe enough to release vigilance. You do not need to find your heartbeat. You do not need to place a hand on your chest. You do not need to count. Just know that even without your attention, a rhythm keeps you here with life. It does not require your participation, only that you do not interfere with worry or control. In this trust, something light happens. The mind steps back. Consciousness no longer guards the gate. The body takes over. And when the body takes over, sleep is no longer a distant goal, it becomes a natural consequence. We will continue deeper into other rhythms, but for now this is enough, knowing that inside you exists a system that has lived a long time, works very well, and does not need you awake to supervise it. Let the heart keep beating. Let the blood keep flowing, and allow yourself to drift more slowly with this foundational rhythm into the next part of the night. Breath and exchange with the world when the heartbeat has quietly led you inward. When blood continues its endless circulation, another movement appears softer, slower, closer to the outer world. The breath. Breath is where the body meets the world, not through thought or speech, but through gentle exchange. Each inhale brings the world into you. Each exhale returns something back. Life happens at this meeting point where inside and outside are no longer fully separate. Your lungs are not simple, empty sacs. They are vast exchange fields with hundreds of millions of tiny alveoli, so thin that only a single cell layer separates oxygen and carbon dioxide. This entire structure works without conscious effort. You do not need to remember to breathe. Even in deep sleep, the lungs continue steady, precise, patient. Breathing never works alone. Air, blood, gravity, and posture all collaborate. Standing, the lungs expand one way. Lying down, they adjust. Gravity shifts blood. Lungs adapt. Oxygen is carried out. Carbon dioxide returns. Nothing works independently. Everything listens, adjusts, like a very quiet conversation. Sometimes you sigh without noticing. This is not weakness. It is a biological reflex that reopens collapsed alveoli and deepens breathing. Yawning, too, is not just boredom. It cools the brain and shifts the nervous system. Even coughing or sneezing protects this exchange space. The body quietly maintains passage. Within the lungs is surfactant, a delicate substance preventing alveoli from sticking together. Without it, breathing would become heavy, a reminder that lightness arises from countless small, unseen acts. Breath also regulates temperature. Heat brings sweat and faster breathing. Cold brings shivering and vessel constriction. The body continuously maintains a safe internal environment without asking you to think. Jung saw breath not only as physiology but as a symbol of the relationship between consciousness and the unconscious. He wrote, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. Breath is such a meeting between you and the world. As breath slows, the world seems gentler. As the world feels safer, breath deepens, not control resonance. For sleep, nothing needs to be done with the breath. When you stop monitoring and controlling, the nervous system shifts from vigilance to restoration. Breaths lengthen, rhythm steadies. The body understands there is nothing to prepare for. You do not need to feel the breath. You do not need to count. Just know that exchange continues gentle, safe. As this exchange softens, the boundary between inside and outside loosens. Not dissolving, just less tense. In that softness, sleep becomes a current rather than a goal. Let the lungs open and close. Let the air come and go. Let the body exchange with the world without interference. Breath is special, not because it can be controlled, but because it stands between two worlds, conscious and unconscious, voluntary and automatic. You may choose to breathe deeply or forget you are breathing at all. Life continues either way. In Jungian depth psychology, unconscious processes are not inferior, they support all mental life. Breath is one such foundation. Even as you withdraw into sleep, exchange continues. Breath always seeks ease. Stress makes it shallow. Safety makes it deep. You do not teach it, you allow it. Sighs and yawns arrive at transition points. The body prepares for night in its own way. Even shivers or goosebumps are signs of care maintaining safety without conscious effort. Each breath is trust, biological trust, written into the body long before fear existed. Healing, Jung said, comes not from understanding more, but from reconnecting with natural processes. Breath is one of the simplest doorways back. If breath feels slower now, it is not because you did something right, it is because the system no longer needs vigilance. And when vigilance drops, another door opens, the door of sleep. This section does not conclude. It dissolves like breath dissolving into air. No boundary, just continuation. Let the lungs work. Let the air move. Let the body adjust. And when exchange becomes gentle enough, you do not need to enter sleep. Sleep will come to you as the natural continuation of breath, the digestive system more than just food. When the breath has become more, even when the exchange with the outer world has softened, another movement continues its work in silence, digestion. If breathing is where you touch the world, then the digestive system is where the world stays within you, is transformed, selected, and converted into living energy. We often think of digestion as simply processing food, But inside your intestines exists a living microbial ecosystem, with trillions of bacteria, each playing its own role. They are not intruders, they are collaborators. They help break down food, synthesize vitamins, train the immune system, and even influence emotions. You do not live alone in your body. You live within a silent community, where cooperation unfolds every second. The stomach, the first place to receive the outer world, is both gentle and strict. It is a chamber of digestion, but also a defensive acid moat deciding what may pass deeper and what must stop. Stomach acid carries no malice. It simply fulfills its task, protecting the integrity of the system. There is something deeply symbolic here. The body knows how to receive, and it also knows how to hold boundaries. After the stomach, the liver, pancreas, and gallbladder participate together in a delicate coordination. The liver regulates blood sugar, detoxifies and metabolizes fats. The pancreas regulates insulin and enzymes. The gallbladder releases bile at the right time. No organ is more important than another. They simply work together in a wordless rhythm. When you sleep, this process becomes even more effective, because the body no longer has to divide its attention with the outside world. Intestinal peristalsis, gentle waves of contraction, carries food through the entire length of the intestines. They do not rush, they do not stop, they do not miss anything. And for these movements to flow smoothly, water and fiber play a crucial role. Not as health advice, but as an image. Life needs enough softness to be able to move. When everything becomes too dry or rigid, flow struggles. One of the most remarkable aspects of the digestive system is the gut-brain axis. The gut does not only receive commands from the brain, it sends signals back. Millions of neurons in the gut communicate continuously with the central nervous system. Anxiety can tighten the intestines. A sense of safety can allow digestion to flow more easily. This shows that emotions do not live only in the head. They are felt, stored, and processed in the body. From the perspective of Carl Gustav Jung, what is swallowed in psychological life must also be digested. Jung wrote, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." Like the digestive system, the psyche does not grow by taking in only what is pleasant. It needs time to process, transform, and integrate even heavy experiences. The gut does this with food. The unconscious does this with lived experience. Both require rhythm, patience, and a sense of safety. At night, when you lie still, the digestive system shifts into a deeper mode of work. No longer reacting to new stimulation, it focuses on processing what has already been received. This is why calm before sleep is so important. When the mind releases tension, the gut is allowed to relax. And when the gut relaxes, the whole body receives the signal, now it is safe to rest. If you are listening to these words, you do not need to think about what you ate or how digestion works. Just know this: a silent intelligence is working to transform the world into a part of you in the safest way possible. You do not need to intervene. You do not need to adjust. You only need to allow. And as this transformation unfolds in silence, as what is heavy is gradually processed, a lighter space opens. From there, we will continue deeper into other systems, other layers, but with the same feeling. You are being cared for even as you rest. Let the intestines continue their movement. Let the liver, pancreas, and gallbladder continue their coordination. Let the body digest the world, so you do not have to do it consciously. And in this very slow transformation, allow yourself to drift deeper into the night, where sleep is no longer something to be achieved, but the natural result of feeling safe. If we stay a little longer with the image of the digestive system, we may realize that it is not only a place where matter is processed, but also a profound symbol of the capacity to receive life. Each day, not only food enters the body, but also experiences words, emotions, pleasant and difficult alike. And just like food, not everything can be absorbed immediately. Some things need time, some need to be broken down, and some need to be released. In everyday life, we often try to swallow emotions, to push past discomfort, much like eating hurriedly when busy. But the body does not forget. The gut remembers. The liver remembers. The digestive system responds honestly to your inner state. Prolonged stress alters intestinal movement. Anxiety tightens the stomach, not as punishment, but as a signal that something needs to be processed more slowly. In depth psychology, Jung saw human maturation as a journey of digesting life, not through intellect, but through gradual integration. He wrote, "There is no coming to consciousness without pain." This is not meant to instill fear, but to remind us that, like digestion, becoming conscious requires time, space, and safety. No transformation happens in haste. The body understands this well. The gut, with its own nervous system, constantly evaluates the internal environment. Is it safe? Is vigilance required? Is relaxation possible? When the answer is yes, digestion opens, absorbs, nourishes. When the answer is no, it tightens, slows, and keeps distance. This is not malfunction. This is biological intelligence. At night especially, when you lie down in quiet, the digestive system receives a crucial signal: there is nothing more to take in. No food, no stimulation, no demands. This is when the deepest transformation can occur, not only of nutrients, but of the residue of a long day. Perhaps this is why warmth or gentle heaviness in the abdomen often appears as you begin to relax. It is not fatigue. It is settling. The body is saying now it is possible to stay with yourself. And when you allow this, the entire system gradually shifts into recovery. You do not need to do anything with the digestive system. No observing, no adjusting, no understanding. Just do not rush it. Like a river, digestion finds its rhythm when it is not pressured. And from this very quiet digestion, something else becomes possible: lightness. Not because all problems are solved, but because the body no longer has to hold them tightly. What can be absorbed is kept. What is unnecessary is released. This is the work of the gut. This is also the work of the unconscious. This section does not end with advice. It closes with trust. Trust that within you exists a system that knows how to transform life into living in the slowest and kindest way possible. Let the gut continue its work. Let the liver, pancreas, and gallbladder continue their coordination. Let what is heavy be processed without your interference. And in this quiet transformation, allow yourself to move onward to the next part, where the body continues to reveal its silent wisdom, so you may go even deeper into the night and into the sleep that is slowly approaching. The movement system, quiet strength. When the senses have softened, when the outer world is no longer constructed too sharply within you, another layer of the body begins to speak the movement system. But this is not the noisy movement of daytime, not walking, not lifting, not acting. This is a quiet strength still present, even when you are lying still, eyes closed, doing nothing at all. Your bones, though they appear solid and unmoving, are living tissue. Each day, old bone cells are broken down, new ones are formed. Minerals are deposited and withdrawn like a very patient bank. Bones do not only support you, they remember pressure, adapt to how you live, how you move, how you stand before the world. Even when you rest, bones continue to restructure slowly, precisely, without requiring your attention. Tendons connect muscle to bone, functioning like biological springs. They store energy when you move, then release it when needed. Thanks to tendons, movement does not always require effort. Some work is done through elasticity, not force. This is a deep lesson of the body. Not all strength comes from tension. Much strength comes from the ability to stretch and release at the right moment. Muscles, often seen as symbols of strength, are in fact very subtle chemical engines. They convert energy into movement, but they also know how to relax. When you sleep, most muscles are allowed to let go. The brain sends signals to prevent excessive muscle activity as a way of protecting dreams. This is why deep sleep is accompanied by a sense of heaviness, warmth, and safety in the body. Deeper still, at the cellular level, mitochondria work continuously. They are power plants determining endurance not through intensity but through consistency. Mitochondria do not like haste. They function best with stable rhythms, waking, resting, recovering. And sleep is the crucial time when they repair, renew, and prepare for the next day. What is interesting is this: your strength does not lie solely in muscle size. It lies in the neuroscience of coordination. The brain learns to activate the right muscle fibers at the right time with just enough force. A well-coordinated body is often stronger than one driven by constant tension. This shows that true strength does not come from doing more, but from moving more harmoniously. From the perspective of Carl Gustav Jung, psychological strength operates in a similar way. Jung wrote, "What you resist persists. The body is the same. When you resist fatigue, the body tightens. When you allow rest, deeper strength is restored." The movement system does not need you to prove anything. It only needs you not to force it to become something it is not. At night, when you lie still, the movement system does not shut down. It shifts into maintenance mode. Tiny micro-injuries in muscles are repaired. Bones continue mineral exchange. Mitochondria are refreshed. The nervous system adjusts baseline muscle tone. All of this happens silently, without conscious involvement. This is why rest is not laziness, but an essential component of strength. Perhaps you have noticed that after deep sleep, the body feels stronger in a way that is difficult to describe. Not because you can do more, but because you no longer have to brace yourself. That quiet strength comes from internal coordination, from each system being allowed to do its work. Right now, if you are listening to these words, you do not need to actively relax your body. Simply allow gravity to hold you. Allow the bed to support you. The body understands this. And when supported, it knows how to let go. From this letting go, we will gradually move into another layer where the body regulates, balances, and maintains inner rhythms with great precision. But before continuing, stay here a little longer, with the sense that you do not need to be strong right now. Let the bones continue to support. Let the muscles and tendons rest. Let energy be renewed in silence. And in that silence, allow yourself to drift deeper into the night where strength does not need to show itself, only to be nourished. If we remain a little longer with the movement system, we may realize that most of the body's strength is never seen. It does not lie in moments of explosion, but in the ability to maintain form, hold balance, and resist gravity throughout a lifetime. Every day, your body counters the pull of the earth without you noticing. And when night comes, when you are allowed to lie down, the entire movement system exhales, not through breath, but through a deep release of tension. One important thing to notice is this: the body is not designed to always be at its optimal peak. It is designed to oscillate around enough. Bones do not need to be strongest all the time. Muscles do not need to be strongest all the time. Tendons do not need to be tight all the time. Life exists through cycles: load, then rest, tension, then release, activity, then recovery. And sleep is the other half of movement, the half that daytime depends on but often forgets. When you sleep, the motor nervous system recalibrates muscle tone, the baseline tension you are not aware of. If tone is too high, the body becomes exhausted. If too low, stability is lost. During the night, the brain quietly fine-tunes this level like tuning strings of an instrument, so that in the morning the body is in tune. Not too tight, not too loose, just enough to be present in the world. Mitochondria deep within muscle tissue also follow a very ancient rhythm. They respond to the day-night cycle, to light, to rest. When you sleep enough, mitochondria function more efficiently, generate less noise, and recover faster. This does not create immediate feelings of power, but it creates quiet endurance, a kind of strength that is not dramatic, yet supports you for a lifetime. In Jungian psychology, a key idea is that maturation does not come from increasing power, but from integrating neglected parts. The body reflects this. A healthy movement system is not one that is constantly used, but one that is allowed to rest at the right time. When rest is allowed, areas that were overstrained can return to their natural position. Jung emphasized that people often identify themselves with effort, with action, with doing. But the body reminds us of something else. Existence does not require constant effort. Right now, you do not need to hold your body together. You do not need to maintain posture. The bed, gravity, and biological structure are doing that for you. Perhaps this is why the deepest sense of safety often comes from physical support, being able to lie down, to lean, to be held. It is no coincidence that infants sleep best when held. It is no coincidence that adults also sleep deeper when they feel physically supported. This is not weakness. It is a primal need of the movement system. When the movement system receives the message that it no longer needs to prepare for action, the entire biological system begins to shift phase. Energy is no longer allocated to movement, but redirected toward regulation, repair, and balance. This is the natural bridge into the next stage of the journey. But before crossing that bridge, to stay here a little longer. No need to relax each muscle. No need to scan each area. Just allow the body to become heavy supported still. Let the bones remain the foundation. Let the tendons stop storing. Let the muscles release their task. And in that release, allow yourself to drift very gently into the deeper regulatory rhythm of the body where nothing needs to be strong anymore, only balanced enough for you to sleep peacefully. Regulation and balance. When the movement system he's been allowed to settle when bones, muscles, and tendons no longer need to hold posture or prepare for action. A deeper layer of life continues its work, regulation, and balance. This is not visible movement, but a foundational rhythm that keeps all inner systems from drifting too far in any direction. At the center of this rhythm are the kidneys, the body's quiet accountants. They do not seek perfection. They seek sufficiency. How much water to retain? How much salt to release? What needs balancing? What needs removing? Each decision is small, yet repeated continuously day and night. Through this, the inner environment remains stable enough for life. What is notable is that the kidneys do not work under conscious command. You cannot instruct them to regulate better. You can only create conditions for them to work in rhythm. And sleep is the most important condition. When you rest, blood flow through the kidneys becomes steadier. Regulatory hormones work more harmoniously, and balance is maintained with the least effort. Hormones are chemical messengers carrying information throughout the body. They coordinate the day-night cycle signal, when to be alert and when to rest. They regulate hunger and satiety, stress and relaxation. Hormones do not argue. They do not explain. They transmit states. And when hormonal rhythm is disturbed, the entire system senses unease. At night, some hormones soften, others rise. This is not random, but a biological rhythm deeply written into the body. Melatonin signals darkness. Cortisol lowers. The body understands that it no longer needs to prepare for action. And when hormones move in agreement, sleep becomes deeper and more natural. Body temperature is also part of this rhythm. It is not a fixed number, but a subtle oscillation. At night, temperature drops slightly, like an invitation to rest. When temperature cannot drop, sleep becomes shallow. This shows that sleep is not only a mental issue, but a precise coordination of many small systems. Water electrolytes, calcium elements that seem simple, are the foundation of every living signal. Every nerve impulse, every muscle contraction, every heartbeat depends on this balance. When balance shifts, the body can no longer communicate smoothly with itself. And one of the first things affected is sleep. From Jung's perspective, balance is not a static state, but an ongoing adjustment. Jung wrote, "The pendulum of the mind oscillates between sense and nonsense, not between right and wrong. The body is the same. It does not seek absolute right or wrong. It oscillates around enough. When you force yourself to be stable, systems often resist. But when you allow natural oscillation, waking and sleeping activity, and rest balance emerges on its own. At night, when you no longer need to decide or control, regulatory systems are given back their autonomy. And it is precisely then that the body feels safest. No need to hold water levels exactly. No need to calculate hormones. No need to monitor temperature. All of this is cared for by an intelligence that does not require consciousness. Perhaps this is why deep fatigue does not need complex solutions. It needs permission to rest in rhythm. When that permission is given, the quiet accountants inside you begin working more efficiently, more gently. From this regulation, from this deep balancing rhythm, we will gradually move into another layer: growth, regeneration, and adaptation, where the body continues to show that it does not only sustain life, but continuously renews itself. But before continuing, stay here a little longer. No need to adjust, no need to control. Let water, electrolytes, hormones, and temperature find their rhythm again. And in that rhythm, allow yourself to drift deeper into the night, where balance requires no effort, and sleep arrives as a natural result of trust. The miracle of the ordinary. After having passed through the deepest layers of body and mind, after touching the question of identity and the continuity of the I, perhaps what remains is not a new discovery, but a very simple realization. Everything that has just been spoken of is still happening within you, even when you are not thinking about it. Your body, from heartbeat and breath, digestion, immunity, and the brain to the most subtle regulatory rhythms, has never stopped working for you. It requires no gratitude, no attention, no understanding. This is the silent intelligence of life. An intelligence that does not argue, does not explain, does not question, but patiently maintains the conditions for your existence. And the miracle is this: most of the time we do not notice it. We notice the body only when there is pain. We notice the mind only when there is disturbance. And when everything functions normally, we call it ordinary. Yet it is precisely this ordinary that is the greatest miracle of all. From the perspective of Carl Gustav Jung, deep human maturity does not lie in achieving the extraordinary, but in the capacity to remain fully present with what already is. Jung wrote, "The acceptance of oneself is the essence of the whole moral problem and the epitome of a whole outlook on life." This acceptance is not resignation. It is the recognition that there are processes within you more worthy of trust than the effort of consciousness. And when you trust, you no longer need to control. When you no longer need to control, you can rest. Right now, you do not need to continue analyzing. You do not need to remember every idea. You do not need to understand the whole story. Your body does not ask for that. It only asks that you allow yourself to stop, like setting down a heavy object after carrying it for too long. Let the remaining thoughts fade like distant echoes in the night. Let a very gentle sense of gratitude appear, not directed toward anyone, simply the knowing that you are being supported. Gratitude that your heart still beats. Gratitude that breath still comes and goes. Gratitude that your body has carried you through another day, whether you noticed or not. From that sense of gratitude, no further effort is needed to sleep. Sleep is not something you must achieve. It is what happens when there is nothing left to do. And perhaps right now there is nothing left to do. If you are listening to these words on the Stories for Sleep channel, know that you do not need to stay awake until the end. You may let sleep arrive midway. These stories are created precisely for that, so that you do not need to try to finish. If you feel safe, if this rhythm of narration offers you a small pocket of calm in your day, you may gently subscribe to Stories for Sleep, not as a commitment, but as a very slow appointment that there will be other nights when you can return. Here, carrying nothing with you. And now, no more words are needed. Sleep well, sleep deeply, sleep in your own rhythm. Let the ordinary continue to perform its miracle while you drift safely into the night. Perhaps the ordinary becomes miraculous only when we stop rushing past it, when we stop searching for something more special, more profound, more elevated, when we realize that life does not need to impress in order to be worthy of reverence. It only needs to continue being present steadily, faithfully, as it always has. Your body does not need you to admire it every day. But if there is one small moment to recognize that from the day you were born until now, there has not been a single day your body has given up, that moment alone can soften a great deal of tension. Not because all problems disappear, but because you are no longer carrying the burden of existence alone. In depth psychology, Jung often emphasized that healing does not come from fixing oneself, but from allowing what is natural to continue being itself. Your body has survived many difficult days. It has adapted to things you never thought you could endure, and it is still here quietly, without demands, without asking for credit. When you lie down at night, the body does not ask whether today was a success or a failure. It does not measure your worth. It simply begins doing what it has always done, keeping the heartbeat sufficient, regulating breath, repairing what needs repair, releasing what can be released. This unconditionality is the deepest foundation of safety. You may be accustomed to needing to earn rest, but tonight you do not need to prove anything. You do not need to understand this whole story. You do not need to remember how far you listened. Just know this: there are no demands placed upon you right now. If in these final moments your awareness begins to blur, that is not you missing something. It is a sign that deeper systems have taken over. And that is precisely what this entire journey has been leading toward, so that you no longer need to be there. The stories for sleep are not meant to keep you awake. They are meant to give you a safe place to let go again and again, night after night, until the feeling of safety becomes familiar. If you subscribe, it is not a promise, only an open door waiting when you need it. And now truly there is nothing more to say. No need to think further. No need to follow the voice. No need to keep yourself awake. Let the ordinary continue to function. Let the body do its work. Let sleep arrive in its own way. Time, the silent rhythm of life. When everything has settled. When the body is allowed to rest, and the mind no longer needs to define who it is. A very quiet element begins to reveal itself: time. But not the time of clocks, schedules, or countdowns. This is biological time. The time your body has lived with long before you knew the concept of hours. Clock time always moves forward. It does not care whether you are tired or well safe or anxious. Biological time is different. It stretches, slows, accelerates depending on your inner state. When you are tense, time presses. When you are safe, time softens. And when you truly rest, time seems to dissolve, losing clear boundaries. The body does not measure time in seconds. It measures by day and night, by light and darkness, by rising and falling hormones, by temperature lowering as night arrives, by cellular renewal. The body knows it is time to sleep, not because you look at the clock, but because the entire system senses that life's rhythm has slowed enough. The day-night cycle is the most basic loop. Within it are larger cycles, seasons, years, stages of life. Each phase carries its own rhythm. Youth opens forward. Adulthood stabilizes. Old age slows, not as decline but as natural adjustment. The body does not fight time. It moves with time by changing how it is present. From Jung's perspective, psychological time does not align with physical time. Jung wrote, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." This does not speak directly about time, yet it shows that transformation does not follow schedules, it follows ripeness. In the psyche, some changes take years to prepare, yet occur in a moment. Some things feel heavy for a long time, but when released, time no longer weighs so much. When you are safe, your sense of time changes. Deep rest is no longer divided into before and after. You are not waiting for sleep. You drift into it. And in that drifting, time does not disappear, it simply stops pressuring you. This is essential for sleep, because most insomnia does not come from lack of sleepiness, but from the mind being trapped in clock time, tomorrow, deadlines, unfinished things. Only when you step out of that stream can the body return to its natural rhythm. Night is not an empty space to be filled. It is a space where biological time recalibrates itself. In darkness, hormones are rearranged. Temperature lowers. Cells enter repair cycles. Nothing rushes. Nothing is pushed. Everything unfolds in a very ancient, very trustworthy rhythm. Perhaps that is why the deepest peace often comes with the feeling that there is nowhere else you need to be. When you stop chasing time, you begin to be within time. And then sleep is no longer a destination, but part of the flow. No need to grow larger. No need to shrink the world. No need to become anything else. Just allow yourself to be small within support. And within that support, let safety spread very slowly, very evenly, until sleep arrives not as a destination, but as a return. Letting go of control, the body takes over. When you have allowed yourself to become smaller, when biological safety has spread throughout the body, something very natural begins to happen. Consciousness no longer wants to steer. Not because it is exhausted in a negative sense, but because it realizes that in this moment it is no longer necessary. Sleep does not begin with an action. It begins with withdrawal. Consciousness withdraws from observing, analyzing, controlling. It is like a gatekeeper who realizes that tonight there is no danger left to guard against. When there is no longer a task, it can sit down and quietly disappear into the darkness. Many people try to do something in order to sleep, adjusting posture, controlling breath, pushing thoughts away, reminding themselves to relax. But sleep does not respond to effort. It only responds to the absence of interference. The more you try to sleep, the longer consciousness stays. The more you let go, the easier sleep comes. The body knows how to sleep better than you think. It learned this long ago, before you even knew you existed. From the time it was a very small living being, the body knew when to withdraw from the outer world to restore itself. You do not need to teach it again. You only need not to block it. When you stop intervening, the body begins to take over very gently. The heart rate slows, breath lengthens, muscle tone decreases, brain waves shift. There is no clear moment that marks "now I am asleep." Only a soft transition where consciousness fades like a dimming light. From the perspective of Carl Gustav Jung, letting go of control is not weakness, but a very deep act of trust. Jung wrote, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." In the context of sleep, darkness is not something frightening. It is the space where consciousness no longer needs to illuminate everything. When you allow that darkness to exist without resistance, without control, you are performing a very ancient healing act, trusting processes beyond the ego. Trust is not a thought, it is a state of the nervous system. When you trust, the body recognizes that there is no longer a need to defend. When there is no longer defense, energy is released from vigilance and redirected toward restoration. This is the doorway to deep sleep. You may still notice thoughts passing through. That is completely fine. Consciousness does not disappear instantly. It dissolves gradually like thin mist. What matters is not pushing thoughts away, but not following them. When you do not follow, they pass on their own. Letting go of control is not abandoning yourself. It is returning authority to a system that already knows how to care for you. And when the body is given that authority, it does nothing dramatic. It simply does what is necessary, very precisely, very quietly. Perhaps this is why the deepest sleep often arrives when you no longer remember when you started trying to sleep. When consciousness no longer holds time markers. When the eye no longer needs to be present to monitor the process. When the body is allowed to work alone. From this letting go of control, something else becomes possible: dissolution. No longer clear boundaries between inside and outside, between body and mind, between the individual and the larger rhythm of life. This is where the final part of the journey begins to open. But before going on, stay here a little longer. No need to do anything to sleep. No need to control what is happening. No need to understand anything further. Just do not interfere. Let the body take over. And in that very gentle takeover, allow consciousness to withdraw completely. as you drift deeper, very deeply into sleep. If we remain a little longer with this moment of letting go of control, we may realize that the hardest part is not sleeping, but allowing ourselves to no longer need to stay awake. Consciousness is accustomed to standing guard, to keeping everything under control. Even when the body is safe, consciousness often stays like a gatekeeper who has not yet received permission to rest. But letting go of control is not a command directed at consciousness. It is a gentle fatigue until consciousness itself understands there is nothing left that requires its attention. When there is no task, consciousness does not vanish abruptly. It settles layer by layer, like sound fading into the night. The body does not rush this process. It does not require you to sleep now. It simply continues sending steady signals of safety, a slower heart rate, deeper breathing, a growing heaviness in the limbs. These signals are not meant to convince consciousness. They simply remain there patiently until consciousness no longer has a reason to resist. There is a common misunderstanding that letting go of control is giving up. But in biological reality, letting go of control is a prerequisite for deeper systems to function precisely. When you try to manage every detail, you obscure the subtle self-regulating mechanisms designed to work in darkness. Sleep does not require your active cooperation. It only requires that you do not block it with worry. And worry often appears when consciousness still believes it is responsible for the outcome. When you release the responsibility of having to sleep, pressure disappears. When pressure disappears, sleep has space to arrive. Trust, therefore, is not a vague belief. It is a very concrete biological act. Not intervening when intervention is unnecessary, not supervising when the system is already safe, not demanding when there is no danger. In this state, the body no longer needs to persuade you. It is free to work fully. You may still hear this voice. Consciousness may still hover. That is completely fine. Letting go of control does not happen simultaneously on every level. It spreads very slowly from body to mind. And with each minute of non-interference, consciousness becomes a little lighter. Eventually, there will be a very indistinct moment, not clearly marked, when you no longer remember listening. Not because you lost focus, but because there is no longer anyone who needs to focus. The body has taken over completely, and you do not need to witness that moment. From here, the boundary between you and the process begins to blur. There is no doer, no task to complete. Only a gentle, steady drifting like calm water at night. And in that drifting, you do not disappear. You are held. From this complete letting go of control, the final possibility arises: dissolution. Not as disappearance, but as returning to a larger rhythm that has always been there. But before moving into that final part, stay here a little longer. No need to do anything else. No need to check anything anymore. No need to keep yourself awake. Just do not interfere. Let the body take over completely. And in that total takeover, allow consciousness to dissolve very slowly, very deeply as you sink fully into sleep. Dissolution, returning to the rhythm of the universe. When there is nothing left to control, when the body has fully taken over, a very different state begins to appear: dissolution. Not dissolution as loss, but dissolution into a larger rhythm, where there is no longer a need for clear boundaries between the I and the rest of life. In this state, body, mind, and universe are no longer experienced as separate entities. The heartbeat is no longer only your heartbeat. Breath no longer belongs solely to this chest. Everything seems to synchronize with a very wide, very slow rhythm. The rhythm of night, of rest, of existence without effort. Consciousness, accustomed to dividing inside and outside, subject and object, begins to release its final boundary, not through thinking, but through complete settling. When there is no longer anyone to differentiate, the world does not disappear, it simply becomes softer, closer, non-oppositional. From the perspective of Carl Gustav Jung, this state is not unfamiliar. Jung saw the deeper aim of psychological life, not as strengthening the ego, but as returning to the whole, where consciousness recognizes itself as only a part of a larger order. He wrote, "In the last analysis, the essential thing is the life of the psyche. And the life of the psyche in this moment is no longer confined within the individual. It spreads, dissolves into the shared stream of life, where all rhythms are slow, even, and unnamed. In this light, sleep is no longer merely a biological function. It becomes a gentle act of dissolution, not you entering sleep but being received by it, like a drop of water that does not vanish when it enters the ocean, but simply no longer needs to hold its separate form. Here, there is no longer a clear distinction between inside and outside. Sounds near and far blend together. Bodily sensations lose sharp boundaries. Time loses linear structure. There is no before or after. There is only being. No need to reach this state. No need to understand it. No need to hold it. It arrives when you stop trying to be anywhere at all. In this moment of dissolution, the accumulated fatigue of the long day does not need to be resolved. It simply falls away like a burden set down when no one is holding it anymore. Unanswered questions no longer demand answers. They dissolve into the rhythm of night. You do not need to be complete in order to rest. You do not need to be perfectly peaceful in order to sleep. Life does not require conditions in order to continue supporting you. And as this entire journey closes from body emotion, unconscious safety, letting go, you do not arrive somewhere new. You return. You return to a rhythm that has always been there even when you forgot. From here, there is no next part. Nothing more needs to be said. Only a full, gentle silence remains covering everything. If you still hear this voice, let it pass like a final wave. No need to follow. No need to remember. No need to hold. Night is doing its work. The body is doing its work. And you do not need to do anything at all. There is no clear moment called, "Now I am asleep." Just as there is no moment when twilight becomes night, everything transitions so softly that consciousness cannot mark the boundary. Here, existence is no longer experienced as a chain of actions. It is like a still lake, where movement is so small it does not need to be noticed. The body no longer needs to maintain waking form. The mind no longer needs to sustain the story of itself. And the universe, vast and silent, is no longer out there. In this state, you do not need to feel special. No need for a profound or sacred experience. Dissolution is not a peak. It is absolute ordinariness, so ordinary that there is no one left to name it. All rhythms within you begin to synchronize with the rhythm of night, not because you try to merge, but because nothing remains to block it. Heartbeat, breath, the final stream of thought all move in the same direction, very slowly, very evenly. No resistance, no effort. Here, the question, "Who am I?" no longer exists, not because it has been answered, but because there is no longer anyone who needs to ask. Identity does not disappear. It simply becomes unnecessary for now, like a coat set aside when you no longer need to go outside. Sleep in this moment is no longer something you achieve. It is a deep permission for everything to return to its most natural state. And that natural state is not tense, not analytical, not defensive. You do not need to remember anything from this journey. You do not need to carry messages or lessons into tomorrow. What needs to remain will remain in its own way. What is unnecessary will fall away without decision. If there is still a faint sense of "I am here," allow that too to dissolve. No need to push it away. No need to keep it. It will fade on its own, like the final note of a slow piece of music. From here, there is no guidance, no structure, no journey. Only night, continuing to be night, and the body continuing to do what it has always done when fully trusted. No need to go anywhere. No need to become anything else. No need to stay awake to stand guard. Let everything dissolve completely into a very ancient, very wide, very gentle rhythm where sleep is not a destination but your most natural return. And now, as this journey slowly closes, with nothing left to explain and nothing left to remember. Perhaps what matters most is not what you have heard, but the state you are in right now. If you notice, you may sense that the body is slightly different. Not dramatic, not obvious, just a subtle lightness somewhere. Breath may be deeper, heart rate may be slower. Consciousness is no longer upright, but leaning into something softer, wider. This entire journey was never meant to teach you anything. It was only a very slow invitation, an invitation to return to processes that have always been unfolding beneath consciousness. Processes that need no praise, no recognition, no control. They have been working for you your entire life, even when you were unaware of them. Carl Jung once recognized a beautiful paradox in human beings. The more we try to understand ourselves, the farther we move from ourselves. The more we allow ourselves not to understand, the closer we come to the whole. Sleep is where this paradox resolves most naturally. No philosophy required, no effort, only consciousness stepping back. You do not need to become a better version of yourself in order to rest. You do not need to be fully healed. You do not need to be completely at peace. Life does not require you to be complete before allowing you to stop. At night, the body does not ask whether you have done enough. It does not ask whether you deserve to sleep. It simply recognizes that danger has passed, and when danger passes, life naturally returns to rest. If a few thoughts still pass through, that is perfectly fine. They are like the final ripples on a lake after the wind has stopped. You do not need to do anything with them. They will dissolve on their own like everything else when effort is no longer holding it in place. Perhaps the most beautiful thing about sleep is not the comfort it brings, but the absolute trust it requires. Trust that the body knows what to do. Trust that life does not need you to manage every moment. Trust that letting go is not loss, but support. And if there is anything you carry with you after this sleep, perhaps it is not knowledge, but a very faint yet real feeling that you are not doing everything alone. That beneath tired consciousness there is an ancient, resilient intelligence quietly keeping everything going. If slow stories like these help you feel safer at night, if they help you release thought and drift more easily into sleep, you may subscribe to Stories for Sleep. Not to follow, not to learn, but simply to know there is always a quiet place, waiting for you each night. The stories here will not rush. They will not try to wake you. They will simply be like a steady breath, like a dim light for moments when you need rest without explanation. And now you no longer need to listen. No need to remember. No need to follow what is happening. Let this voice dissolve with the night. Let the body continue its work. Let consciousness rest completely. Sleep well, very slowly, very quietly.